And I said, Todd, what can I offer for this? What is the repairs going to be? Is this a good price? And then I just took that and went and signed the contract at that price with the seller based on what Todd had said. So that's one way to structure your offer. What you don't want to do is leave them with an offer. You don't want to just give them a number and then expect them to call you back and accept it. You have to get them to commit to giving you a yes or no answer when you're giving that number. Because otherwise what they'll do is if I go to Todd's house, let's say he's selling his house, I'll give you 200 grand right now. Or not right now. I shouldn't even say right now. I'll give you 200 grand for your house. And then I leave, and he knows Mike also buys houses in that area. He's going to pick up the phone, call Mike and say, hey, Mike, you can have my house for 210 grand because he knows other people are paying about 200,000. So at that point, he's just going to sell it to Mike and I'll never hear back from him. So what I would do is I would say, look, Todd, I'm coming out to look at your house. I've got to drive all the way out there. If I can give you the price you want for your house, are you willing to get that signed on paper today? And I say it just like that. And that's exactly what I said for the appointment in Bagley. I should have recorded the whole thing. But I said to the guy, I was like, look, I'm driving 2 hours to go look at this house. I need to know that if I can give you this price, you're ready to sign an agreement today. I use those exact words. And he was like, yeah, I'll sign. I don't care as long as I get that price. I didn't want to leave that appointment and have him go sell to somebody else, and it wasn't 2-hour drive. So I really didn't want to waste that time. So that's you guys can kind of just add on to that. There's so much that goes into it, but that's my 2 cents. Don't leave a seller with your offer like that. Usually
there's a lot of vultures in that area that you're at, guys, in Bagley. And that's not a bad, I'm not trying, I'm talking about a lot of people that are loving that area, and you got to be fast. And you did a great job, Carson. You were fast. You were out there today, coming from Flint to Detroit, and you made sure the guy was ready to sign. And you probably looked at the house, so you had to get it a little bit less than what he wanted, and he was still happy. I had one in 2 weeks ago, just the example you said. It's in Bagley. And same thing, someone already gave the guy an offer. I knew what that offer was, and I just barely matched it, a little bit better than matched it, and it still works out well, and the guy liked me and he went with me. So, I wasn't leaving without a contract. You know what I mean? Just like you said, you don't leave a contract or you don't leave a number. If they say they want to think about it, you better stay there and find out why they want to think about it, right? If you didn't do a good enough job, because you gave that number and you didn't know they weren't ready to sign for some reason. You got to figure that out.
Yeah. And to just touch on, again, how to structure the offer. So when we're making an offer, we don't just say, I'll give you 50,000 for your house, take it or leave it. We say, if I could do 50,000 for your house, and I ask this before I go on the appointment, and I ask when I'm back at the appointment, if I can do 50,000 for your house, are you? And I'm not saying I can't. I'm not saying I can't, because I still got to call Todd to make sure it's a good deal. But if I can do 50,000 for your house, you're willing to move forward today. And in my head, I'm making an offer and they're either accepting or declining it. Once they say yes, it's already a done deal. And I just go out in my truck. I've gone out in my truck before and pretended to call people. I literally just hold the phone up to my ear like this and just mouth for 5 minutes. Because you don't want to just hop on it as soon as they say yes. And I'll come out and say, look, I can do that. Let's get the paperwork going and we'll sign there. So, some people you can be way more direct with. It just depends on the situation. That just comes with practice, kind of how to handle each person, each different personality type, all that kind of stuff. But when I'm making my offers, I always try to get a price out of them. And then I say, if I can come up to this number, are you ready to get that going on paper today? I'm not saying I can. I have to talk with my partner, but I can call you back. Is that something you're willing to move forward on if I can get that approved? And that's what Mike does too, because we make a lot of offers over the phone. So that just protects you, because you're not saying you can do 50,000. So they don't even have an offer out of you yet. to go sell to another investor for more. And then you can, if you want to call somebody to confirm whoever you're working the deal with, it's perfect. So Mike makes a ton of offers over the phone every day. I mean, he's making multiple offers. Is that kind of, would you say that's how you do them, or would there be something different you had, Mike?
Yeah, no, you're spot on, right? You never want to get, you always want to, you always want to kind of have the seller in like feeling like a position where they're like coming to get you. You're not going to get them, kind of deal, right? So you don't want to ever just kind of like jump all over a seller, especially if they throw out an offer, right? You want to kind of back away, and say, well, listen, um, I still gonna need to talk to my partner, but if I was able to do that price for you today, would you be ready to put everything down on paper? And you just kind of want to slow things down. And trust me, I've been the one to jump all over the price, right? And if you don't qualify them enough, next thing you know, the seller says, "Oh, well, I still got to think about it. I'll call you back about it," kind of deal. And then next thing you know, poof, they're gone. And more than likely took that and realized, oh, well, I can get more if he's all over this offer, or the price I gave him. Then I definitely can go get more for my property. So I'm gonna call this other guy back. So, yeah, you just always want to keep your cool as much as possible and not kind of show your cards. And again, giving the seller kind of that feeling of control, right? So
Yep.
yeah, you hit it spot on.
Good job. Is that, please
I guess
ask your questions, anyone,
it's about it. I mean, I don't know, acquisitions, it's just one of those things. Again, if the person's not truly motivated, you can ask all the right questions and do all the right things, but at the end of the day, they're not, it's not going to be a deal. And so, just repeating what the person says to you is just a big thing, and then asking those open-ended questions. So again, just like with everything, try not to make it too complicated, and just get out there and make offers when feasible.
And if you get someone that they're not motivated right now, whatever, maybe they called you before, they're not motivated now, they say, no, I think I'm going to keep my house and this and that. So I just added, I would talk to them for a minute, and then I would say, I know you're not ready right now, and I know things change, especially what's going on in today's, world. Is it okay if I follow up with you in a few weeks just to check on you, see how you're doing? I just want to, and I let them know too, I just want to be there. So when you're ready to sell, I'm the first person you think of. I let them know that, because right now I can be, I always tell them, I'll be straight with you. We're not buying as much as we were, before this COVID thing hit and things like that, but we're still buying 2-3 houses a week. Okay. Or I might say we're buying 1 or 2 houses a week. So when you're ready, I want to be there, and I want to put the money aside. I just keep talking just like I am right now. So that's kind of what I do. They always say yes. You put it in your system and you follow up. You make a reminder. If you say 3 weeks, you should follow up in 2 weeks. If you say 2 months, you should follow up in 1 month. Just and always take good notes. They might tell you something, no, because of this or that. I'm going to a funeral, and you never want to bring that back up. But anyways, you can always ask, if any notes that you could take, and, you can always ask them the next time you talk to them. Now you're becoming more of a friend with them, and hopefully you come across and you are sincere and things like that, So it's just a couple of things that, to think of.
Yeah. I don't know. Did we have any questions, you guys?
We had one from Ezekiel. We had a couple from Ezekiel. His first one, how would you gauge this motivation? A seller told him just so you don't waste your time, I'm not going to accept anything under 100,000. I have a good paying tenant in the property that has been there for about 5 years, and I'm not anxious to sell, but it is my only property in Warren, and I have an idea of what I would like to do with the money if I do sell the place. I guess I would be curious if I'm guessing you reached out to them. Yeah, you reached out to them with Driving for Dollars. So I would say, again, timeline, price, condition, motivation. How soon would you be looking to sell this house? Because he's saying here he has an idea of what he want to do with the money. What if that is paying for his daughter's car who's about to turn 16 in a month? Now you know, and he might say that just by saying, well, okay, I understand. If I can do the 100,000, where, how soon would you be looking to close? What time are you working with? He might tell you more motivation about it.
Ask him, hey Carson, you can even ask him what if he, what are you going to do with the money? Try to dig in that a little bit. What's your plans with the money? If I could get you that 100,000, what are you going to do with it? Are if they might just want to talk and tell you, or they might say it's none of your business. You say, well, the reason I ask is, if they said that to me, I'd say, well, the reason I ask is maybe you wanted to buy another rental property. Might come across other ones that, that we might not be interested, that might be in the area that you're looking, blah, 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 blah. Right. So you start asking more about that. And in that 100,000, what is the ARV? I mean, that 100,000 might be a deal in Warren. It just depends on where it's at. What's the ARV over there? If it's worth 100 and they want 100, then like Michael said earlier, then it goes into, and if you're newer, then you got to talk to me or Michael or Carson. Let us call them with you so we could kind of educate them. You could say, let me talk to my partner and let me sit down and put our heads together and see if we could make this work for you. Something like that. Or if you have experience, then you got to educate them about, you're on your computer, you can pull up the comps and ask them a lot of details about their house and say, well, I'm looking here and it looks like all the houses in your area are actually selling for 90. And you could read off some addresses, square footage, so they know you're actually looking at it. Do you know this block? It's like 2 blocks away. It just sold for, and these are last 6 months. And now you're having a different type of conversation where you're not being, you're just telling them the facts of what's going on. And,
Another thing too, if they say they're not going to accept anything under 100, that doesn't mean they're not going to accept anything under 100. Right. That would be a perfect situation to say, and like Todd said, it depends on the numbers. You have to see what it's worth, but you can almost just disregard that. Okay, so you want 100. Well, I mean, if I could do something, close to that number, around like 70 to 80, I mean, would you, and close in the next couple of weeks, pay all the closing costs for you? Is that something you'd be willing to accept? Or where would that put you? They might still be interested in something less, depending on how they, their actual motivation and stuff that you have to figure out more. So I would still throw out a lower number, but it just depends on where the house is. Sometimes people like that are just not motivated. If they're planning on listing the house, like you said, in a month, I would ask them, oh, do you have a realtor you're working with? What are you going to list it for? If he says 100, okay, so you're paying realtor fees, right, and closing costs. You're not going to walk away with over 85, maybe 90,000. Probably 85 for all the repairs you want to do. And you're going to kick the tenant out, right? You're going to have to evict them. So now you have to spend that money, and then you got to fix it up. So it seems like if I were to offer you 80,000, you would be in the same ballpark without the headache. I mean, does that sound right or no? And then they might just say, yeah. So if it's just not that situation, refer them to a realtor and get paid that way. So let's see. He owed back taxes. ARV is about 100 to 132 based on the comps. Yeah, I mean, it's probably I would be curious to know if the house is going in foreclosure in March or something. But I would still throw out a price at it before he lists, just kind of explain to him if he lists with a realtor and it sells for 100, he's not walking away with nearly that much and he has to deal with all this headache. He's got to get it tenant out of there, all that stuff before it goes into foreclosure. And you can just take it off his hands, for 55, 60 cash. So yeah, just do that call with Todd, or at least give him the address so he can check the comps, because Todd might know a buyer willing to buy at 100,000, and then all you got to do is get the guy down to 90, which will be easy. So I would see roll the numbers more specifically on that with Todd. Todd's phone number is all the way at the top. He put it in the chat. So good question though. Way to go taking action, man. I mean, that's what it takes. You'll get a deal. Just keep doing. You're having the right type of conversations. I mean, we hear that same line all day, every day. So if you're talking to people like that, the next guy will be more realistic and only want 70, and then it'll be a good deal. So just you've had Todd's number for 2 years. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Give Todd a call. So any other questions, guys? We got some other people on here. Any questions about acquisitions, lead generation, how to create an offer, anything like that at all? Just throw them in the chat, because we got about 10 minutes before we're wrapping up. But yeah, I mean, acquisitions is just all about doing, and you just learn as you go. I mean, Mike and I were listening to a podcast on the way home from this Bagley house about acquisitions and how to talk with sellers and stuff, and we're still learning. I mean, it's constant, so that's why you got to take massive imperfect action.
What was it, Carson?
It was Brent Daniels' podcast with a guy from he does it in, where was it, Idaho or something?
And he made 347,000 part-time his first year or something.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's funny you say that. I just listened to that one. I'm gonna try to drop it. I just dropped it in there. I was gonna tell everyone to listen to it. I actually was driving. It's so funny. I was driving. That guy said so many good things about the timeline and open-ended questions. I actually would stop the podcast. I would go into my voicemail on my phone and I would repeat it. I got it right in my phone. Say word for word what he said, and I'd go back and keep doing that until I got it all. Now I'm going to listen to it, write it down, and I'm going to master it. He said some gold nuggets in it. It's their episode 597. He really did a great job. Some really good things to say to sellers. It's good.
Yeah, there's a ton of free content out there on how to talk with sellers.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really good one. It's episode 597, Wholesaling Inc. I dropped it. It's downloading right now in the message. But anyway.
Sweet. Any other questions? Any deals you guys got? We'll run comps on them right now. Just shoot the deals in the chat. Join that Facebook group. Join the Wholesale MI After Hours Facebook group right now, and I'll accept you guys. And then you can post your questions in that group throughout the week, and then we can answer them for you if you're talking with a seller, or if you want to hop on a live phone call, not a live phone call, but a phone call with three-way us with the seller, or I'll put it in the chat.
Cool. All right, guys, we're ready to wrap it up, unless we get some more questions. What are we talking about next week, guys?
Next week is
disposition.
Yep. So selling your deal.
Yeah. And we should have a special guest. I'm working on that. I'll know. So we're gonna have a special guest to join us next week, and kind of get an idea of maybe how I sell my deals. Carson, Michael makes the deals and we sell them. Just kidding, Michael. And then,
he's being serious.
No, you can sell them. But Michael in my opinion, is on the phone. He is a stone cold killer, man. I love when he comes in and I listen to him. He just doesn't stop and he doesn't change. And he always says, you know, and it gets me motivated. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm trying to get Ron Woolraven on with us, and I got a backup guy. If for some reason he's out of town or something like that. So, and I would like to, you know, a little selfishly, I want to see how he does his disposition.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Mitchell.
this position is like, and we'll go way in more depth next week, but either knowing somebody, like working with them closely who does dispositions, or doing dispositions yourself is really important. For the like Ezekiel, and this will be the last thing I say, but like if you knew somebody who would pay 105 for that Warren house and wanted to buy it as a rental, you would be looking at that deal totally differently. You may have passed on it, but if you knew somebody who would buy it at that price, or you had connected with Todd and Todd knew someone who would buy it at 105,000, that wouldn't have been a deal before. Now it's a deal. So being connected and knowing what things are going through in your market while you're doing acquisitions is huge. You need to have an open line of communication between either buyers constantly or somebody who has a ton of buyers, because you need to know what you can lock stuff up for. You need to have somebody who you can say, how much should I get for? Is this a deal? Is this not a deal? Because otherwise you'll pass up on deals that I've had starting out, I had so many deals that I passed up with on sellers, and I see them close a couple months later for more than the seller wanted for the house. But I didn't know what the market, I didn't understand what people were paying for. I wasn't connected with the right people. So I missed out on 10 grand over and over and over and over because I didn't understand. There was just a disconnect there. So next week is going to be awesome. If you guys are on this week, you're going to want to be on next week for sure. Join the Facebook group. We'll post a link and everything. And in the meantime, ask any questions this week that you guys have. So that's all I got.
Yep. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. Next week, we'll get this out here. We want, maybe we could have everyone like and share it for us. Like to get more people on it, because you might find someone that's your next door neighbor you could squat up with. Again, you can make phone calls with us. I know Carson and Michael have people in their office. They come here. I get people here. I got Emmett Foster sitting next to me right now. He was here yesterday. Had another guy in here today. So it's great.
Hey, about the page. So I have this page right now for Michigan Wholesale After Hours, or Wholesale Michigan After Hours. It's not the page. Don't like it. I'm going to delete that right now. Join the group. There's an actual group for it. So go find the group. I will delete the page as soon as we get off this, and then just find the group and join it. So then we'll be able to ask questions in there. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming on. Definitely appreciate it. Someone just put the link in. So awesome. Thank you, Cameron. And I'll talk with you guys next week.
All right, awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, man. Thank you, everyone.
Everyone have a great night.
You too, brother.